brother Kadash. I want to start off by giving our praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Kadash, double honors to the apostles and elders, peace, blessings, and honors to all the brothers in the truth. This is going to be men are polygamists by nature, just question mark, kind of going in on what this video is going to title. Some of the things you're going to see in this video is that, the woman, she's going to break it down beautifully. And, everything that, most of the things that she's saying is the truth, and I actually agree with, and the Bible actually agrees with, right? But you're going to see this man, he's going to try to get smart with her. And you can kind of tell the man, he's going to have a suit on. You can kind of tell that he's been drinking from that cup of mystery Babylon, and kind of, with the whole religion stuff, like Christian or Catholic, whatever his religion is, I don't know for sure, but I'm just saying you can see he's been drinking from that Western ideals, culture, pretty much, and he's going to try to get smart with the woman. But she does something that I have to, commend her on. She didn't argue back, she didn't get snappy back, she stayed in her place as a woman, and she kind of just smiled, and she ain't really bite back. She gave the facts. You take it for what it is, right? If you don't want to take it, then you ain't got to take it. And she handled it the right way. And it's a lesson to be learned and it's edifying, because it's the same thing when we're out there on the highways and byways. There's a right way and there's a wrong way to teach, You give somebody the truth, Now, if they want to stand there, then yeah, you pull your sword out, and it can get bloody sometimes. We get that spiritually, right? But we're not going to go up to a church and just, pretty much demand or command this word on them. This is for the elect only. We're not going to go to the ghettos and force this word. You don't force the truth on somebody, right? We are set up to teach the truth, and it's not us that bring people into the truth. It's the Lord. So we teach the truth. We be vessels for the Lord. We work for the Lord, and then the Lord uses that truth and uses that to bring people in to wake up whoever his elect may be. You know what I mean? So that's our job to do, and then just like it says in Romans 3, what if some should not believe? You just give them the truth and let them take that for wherever they take it. I'll give you a quick story before I play this video. This was a while ago, and I got into this kind of debate. Well, it was online. It was on Facebook, and it was on the comments, right? And it was with a guy, and he was going in on that. He believed he was questioning the existence of what he say is God, the Lord, right? And we got into a debate. I'm talking about hundreds of comments, and he kind of believed in evolution, which has been debunked and been proven. And you ask some simple questions like, well, where are all the gorillas at that's very close to turning into humans today? If you believe in the evolution, that's one step away from turning into humans. You don't see that. You don't see other animals turning into humans or something like that. So what has changed, But everybody has their own thoughts, and he just kept going and going and going what he believes, and then it came to a point where it's just like, look, we believe what we believe based off faith, right? And whatever you believe is what you believe, At this point, we then went back and forth. I don't have to force this truth on him because it's not for him. You see what I'm saying? So at that point, it was just like, look, believe what you want to believe. I gave it to you. I pulled the Bible. You don't subscribe to the Bible. Well, then it is what it is. You're going to find out. And sometimes it got to be that way. But, same thing with the whole argument with the monogamy thing versus the polygyny thing. We're not saying that you have to have multiple wives, but you can't condemn a brother for having multiple wives if he wants to do that, because that's biblical, and it's not against the law. There's actually laws that pertaineth to dealing with multiple wives, just like Exodus 21, just to name a couple. What's that, Deuteronomy 21, just to name a couple, but let's let this play.
Now, the final encounter tonight will be between Olumide and Chinedu. And after that, cross-examination. Olumide, Chinedu, show us some action.
Good evening, judges. Biologically, sex is designed for one main purpose: procreation. Anything else, that's extra. The female reproductive cycle comes around once a month. For a man, it's every day. For each sexual act, the woman's one egg is matched by the man's 120 million sperm cells. Now let's do some calculation. 120 million sperm cells a day, every day. as opposed to 1 egg a month every month, means, assuming all the cells are viable, that it will take only 30 men to impregnate all the women in the world.
Now, she said it only take 30 men to impregnate all the women in the world. I want to say a couple things about it. You know, the things she's giving, you kind of see the judges over there kind of frowning up a little bit because they drinking from that cup, you know, of abominations and that philosophy and ways, Western ways, right? But she's giving you all facts. She's giving you numbers. She ain't giving you philosophy, what she feels. She's giving you the numbers and the facts, man. Now, bring it to the kingdom. You know, in the kingdom, we gonna have multiple wives, man. And that's how we're gonna be able to rebuild the nation. That's how the 2/3 are gonna come back. They're gonna come back through, because look, you gotta think about it. These spirits, right? First off, there's people that believe in hell, and there's Hebrews that believe in the hell as in the sense of like an actual place burning underground, when it's simply talking about the grave. Ecclesiastes 12, it simply tells you, you know, your body returns back to the dust, to the ground, the grave, which is called hell, and your soul returns back to the Lord because it's belonged by the Lord, right? So these souls of the 2/3 is going to have to taste of the second death. They're going to return back to the Lord, and then what's going to happen to them? Well, you have to put it together. When we're in the kingdom, we have wives and we have children. Those children bodies have to be occupied by Hebrew Israelite souls. So where are these souls going to come from? They're going to come from the spiritual world, which we know that in the Bible is called the 2/3. They're going to die of the second death. Those souls are going to be in the heavens with the Lord, waiting to come back down, whatever generation he wants them to come back down, to inhabit these bodies of the babies that we're having. Right? Now let's let this keep on.
This points to one clear fact. A man is, by nature, polygamous. Monogamy and fidelity are unnatural situations promulgated by religious beliefs and social pressures.
Yep, see?
Take those away, every man would cheat. Mm-hmm. It's simply biological. Now let's look at the extra.
Now, it's not called cheating. And you see her face, right? But it's not, there's no such thing as cheating. Only cheating is like adultery. And that's man laying with another man's wife. But if you got two single women, the man can lay with both of them. There's no wrong, there's no cheating in that, right? Now, she said something very important. She said it's religion, right? And it's philosophy. Because if you take away the philosophy or the ways of America, right, and if those things wasn't installed in us, then nobody would look at it as a problem. And you know, the example is like Saudi Arabia. You know, it's all a mentality thing. People over here think that that's cheating. It's outrageous. But if you go to Saudi Arabia, those men have multiple wives, and it's something that's regular. It's something that's known. It's not something that's out of the ordinary. Same thing with different places in Africa, the land of Ham, and really all over the world. But over here, you know, you're going based off a philosophy, a false philosophy, you know, that they actually use the Bible to try to justify too, but it's not biblical. Let's keep going. And we're going to pull a verse that
it's a known fact that women, for the most part, are more emotional than men. So it's natural that after a sexual encounter, she'll be attached. But because a man is visual and logical in nature, there's no emotion involved.
See, and that's the reason for the definition of adultery. For a woman to have a husband and have sex with another man, that's adultery. Just for what she said, because they're more emotional. They get attached. They're supposed to get attached, and they're supposed to be one with their men. Why? Because it tells you in 1 Corinthians 11, their purpose was they were made to be the glory of the men. But the man was not made to be the glory of the woman. The man was made to be the glory of the Lord. Matter of fact, let's pull that. You know, this is an edifying moment right here. Let me get to it. 1 Corinthians chapter 11, but I want to get straight to the point, right? Verse 8. For the man is not of the woman, but the woman of the man. That answer who came first, right? It says, neither was the man created for the woman. So man was not created for woman, but the woman for the man. But the woman was created for the man. You see? So that breaks it down of the dynamic that since the woman was created for the man, then yes, if she goes and live with him, if she goes and sleeps with another man and she has a husband, that's adultery. But it's not adultery for a man if he has a wife to go get another wife. Why? Because we were created for the Lord, they were created for us. So yes, there is a different dynamic there. But today in America, they taught you that everything's 50-50, and it's like looking in a mirror, you know. So whatever the man could do, the woman should be able to do. It should be equal. The Lord doesn't deal with equal. There's ranks amongst the angels. There's going to be ranks amongst the elect. The 12 hold a bigger office. They're not equal to they're not going to be equal to the rest of the elect, because the 12, it says they're going to have their name on each foundation of the kingdom. That's in Revelation chapter 21, which shows you that they're going to be more exalted than even the rest of the 144,000 elect, which is going to be more exalted than the rest of the 1/3 of Israel. The Lord doesn't deal with equal, man. He deals with righteous judgment. To make everything equal, that's not righteous judgment. You know, Israel is not equal to all the rest of the nations. The Lord, Deuteronomy 7:6, he said he chose Israel to be above all the rest of the nations. He doesn't deal with the equal stuff, man. Now you could say, yeah, in a sense, we're equal when it all comes to the law. We all have to follow the law. The law deals with us all equally, right? And that makes sense because you're not supposed to, you know, whether a man is rich or poor, you know, it's not supposed to be any difference there, right? So yes, the law is for all Israel, but all Israel is not. But Israel is not equal to the rest of the nations. And then even amongst Israel, there's different offices as far as the whole equality thing go. But no, the man and the woman is not equal. Like you said, the woman was created for the man was created for the Lord. Let's keep going.
It's just a physical release that's got nothing to do with love. A man loves his woman by protecting and providing for her. Period. It's really quite simple for a man.
Right. Because they purpose is for the men, but our purpose is not for them, and that's where people gets it. That's where people get it fucked up at. Is they think the man purpose for the woman and woman purpose for a man, and you come together in a union, you get married, and that's what it is. No, a man's purpose is for the Lord. The woman purpose is for the man. Now, when you look at it from that way, then you could begin to understand the Lord's way.
Physical and the emotional, two separate entities. Thank you.
Olumide.
I'm sorry for keep pausing it, but she's supposed to be emotional because she's supposed to be attached to her man. We're not supposed to be emotional when it comes to that because we're not. Once again, we're not created for the woman. It was just read in 1 Corinthians 11. We supposed to be focused on whatever the Lord put, the Lord's will, whatever the Lord, you know, there is no free will. So that's why I say the Lord's will, whatever the Lord has it in store for that man. But the woman is supposed to be, you know, a help me to a man. You know, her in the Bible, if you go to the word, right, husband, it's going to break down to just men, just her men. And a wife, by definition, is a woman with a husband. And then the word husband, by definition, American definition, it means master of the house. But, you know, today they call it head of the household. When you go file taxes, you could file single or you could file head of the house. What does head of the house mean? It means you're the master of the house. Let's keep going.
Fascinating argument. You say men have the ability to roam and like some kind of man on the Serengeti. Is there an issue of choice in the matter? Do you accept that?
Of course,
there's
sir.
a level of choice.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, if there's a level of choice, then you know, the whole issue of society and makeup really boils down to a question of the character of the individual man, not some compelling force against which he cannot resist the temptation to roam, to use your words.
No, but his problem is the word he just used, temptation. It's not temptation. She's saying that it's nature, right? It's not temptation for a lion to impregnate the pride, which would be an example of a male having multiple wives. That's nature. He's trying to switch it to, well, he has a choice and he can control himself. Why do he have to control himself? Because you're putting him in a box of religion, pretty much is what it's going back to. You're putting him in a box of this is bad, this is good. But who says this is bad and this is good? Your religion definition of bad and good is not the same as the Lord's definition of bad and good. Because you may say slavery is bad. The Lord said that the Israelites are going to take the other nations in slavery. He said, look, you're going to oppress those that oppressed you. He said, you're going to take in captivity those that had you captive. That's Isaiah 14. So if it was a bad thing and the Lord controls everything, then you wouldn't see that happening. The Lord said, Revelations 2, starting at verse 26, 27, that he's going to give people the same power that he got of his father to break and rule the nations with a rod of iron. That's in Revelation chapter 2, New Testament. Right? Let's keep going.
For lack of a better analogy, you can train a dog not to bark, but it will still bark.
Dogs and men.
I'm sorry, for lack of a better analogy. I'm sorry, for lack of a better example.
Not very good.
No, it is, because he's talking about nature. Now you want to go, oh, you saying a man is a dog, and she's telling you. Yeah, you could train a dog not to bark, but it still has the ability to bark, and it's going to bark. You know, but even past that, it's just, yeah, some men may say, look, I'm not going to have multiple wives. I'm only going to have one wife. But you can't condemn men for having multiple wives because it is biblical. You know, and then you can't try to control them, because a lot of women will say, okay, well, I'm going to get me a man that only wants to have one wife. But then that's why you see a lot of problems that you see in America with marriage today. It just don't work. And that's why you have a lot of failed marriages and a lot of divorce at a high rate, because everybody's trying to hang on to this monogamy thing. So when you get married to your husband, right, if you're a woman and your husband goes to step out, you divorce him. And that just broke up a marriage because of a philosophy of monogamy. But if you get married to your husband, let's say he goes get another wife, but that's not your philosophy, guess what, that marriage keeps going. Because well, first off, you know, the stats say that women are divorcing the most. Women are leaving the marriage at a higher rate, at a higher percentage, right? And what's some of the reason why these women are probably leaving these marriages? Well, their man dealing with other women, them being jealous over other women, right? And then just not knowing the dynamic of the woman and the men in the place. So they want to do things like partnerships. No, it's not a partnership. I'm the captain. You are help me on the boat. You help me on the boat. You're a partner, especially for reproduction. But this is my ship. You're on my ship. When this ship go down, the captain dies with the ship. You can get off the ship and go remarry, because you know it's not adultery if her husband dies. Then she could remarry as a widow. You see, but when this ship go down, and then you see a lot of times in divorces, what happened? The man loses everything. So it's just proven and pointing to that I'm the captain of this ship. You're on this ship. But if this ship goes down, the captain has to stay on the ship. I die with the ship. You could get off and go get on another ship and start over. So no, this ain't no partnership. You're signing on to my ship. You're coming on to my ship to help me, to be a piece. And there's power in that. There's a lot of power in that, you know?
Dogs and men.
It's basic instinct.
Yeah.
It's difficult to ignore.
Are you saying
it's
that
not impossible
are
to
you
ignore,
saying
but
that
it's
men
difficult.
have not moved beyond instinct? All right, that answer.
You could move past instincts by using religion and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, you're men. And that's what we say, the flesh. You know, and that's why we have that grace, because we know what the Bible says. It says the roughly paraphrasing, the flesh is weak, but the soul or the spirit is indeed willing. You know, so that's what this whole fight that we're in right now is really we're building up our spirit for the destruction and Jacob's trouble and the hard times that's coming. It's really not about fleshy things. That's why in Matthew chapter 6 the Lord say don't worry about what you should eat, what you should drink, what you should wear. You know, that's what the flesh desires. Build up your spirit so you could be able to mentally and spiritually make it through these things, and the Lord is going to protect your physical. The Lord is going to do for you in those days. But when all hell break loose, if you're not mentally there, if you're not ready for it, a lot of people are going to die from just suicide. A lot of people are going to die from bugging the fuck out, panicking, just giving it up, just drinking themselves to death because they can't deal with the state that the world's going to be in. So you want to mentally be there, right? And then the Lord is going to do for us, and then he's going to save his elect. So that's what we're doing. We're standing in that holy place. You know, we're building up our mental. We're building up our spirit for the time that's coming. The brothers and the 7 brothers in 2 Maccabees chapter 7, they were able to endure that torture that they went through the spirit. That's how they were able to their flesh was getting tormented, but their spirit was with the Lord, and that's why they were able to endure those things. That's where that spiritual power is going to come from, the spirit. You know, and that's pretty much what she's saying. Yeah, you could learn, you could make different boxes, and you could say, well, man, but at the end of the day, you're a man. And instincts are instincts. And that's one of the reasons why we went off from the law, statutes, and commandments, and we can't keep the law, statutes, and commandments perfect because our flesh, because we are men. So what did the Lord say he's going to do this time? He said he's going to give us those uncorruptible, because right now our bodies are corruptible. Instinct, we're men. But the Lord said he's going to give us uncorruptible, immortal bodies. And even with that, in Jeremiah 31, he said that he's going to put the law, statutes, and commandments in our hearts. So we're not going to sin. Because we're going to be made what the world calls supernatural. Not to sin in the kingdom. See, people got to, and that's why these videos be edifying to break it down so you can understand what's about to happen. This is 2 Samuel chapter 12. I'll leave you with this. Verse 8, straight to the point. It says, I gave thee thy master's house. When it says I gave thee, who is that? That's the Lord. I mean, I go back to verse 7 just to prove it. And Nathan said to David, thou art the man. Thus say Lord God of Israel, I anointed thee king over Israel and delivered thee out the hand of Saul. So this is the Lord God of Israel, right? It says, I gave thee thy master's house and thy master's wives, right? It's not adultery because Saul died, so those women could remarry, right? Which makes sense because they had this lifestyle with being married to the first king, right? So they were translated to the next king. They got to keep their lifestyle because they still was with a king, right? Of Israel, right? Of, you know, and then it says of Judah, right? And then it says, look, in thy master wives and to thy blossom, right? So he gave them what? He gave King David what? His master wives. But it said, I gave thee. So the Lord is obviously with the whole polygynous. We say polygynous because that's a man with multiple wives. He said, I gave thee thy master house and thy master wives. This is biblical. And to thy blossom. And gave thee thy house. The Lord's not going to have one set of rules, right? Law, statutes, and commandments for kings of Israel and not for the other men of Israel. So if it was okay, because a lot of women try to say, well, he was a king. If it was okay for King David to have multiple wives, that means it's okay for the average Israelite man to have multiple wives. All Israelite men to have multiple wives, as a matter of fact. It says, and gave thee the house of Israel and of Judah, right? So he gave on the house of Israel and of Judah, right? And he gave on multiple wives. The Lord did that. He didn't even have to ask for it. The Lord did that for him. That's what the Lord wanted for him. It says, if that had been too little, I will moreover have given unto thee such and such things. So the Lord said he would have gave him such and such things. Let's read verse 9. It says, wherefore hast thou despised the commandment of the Lord to do evil in his sight? Thou hast killed Uriel the Hittite with a sword, and has taken his wife to be thy wife, and has slain him with the sword of the children of Ammon. And that was wicked because it was adultery, because he got that man killed in the intentions of taking his wife. So he tried to like backdoor. He tried to say, well, we know the woman, if matter of fact, I'll read it to you right here. He tried to say, look, we know the woman could remarry when she's a widow, so I ain't just gonna take his woman from him. I'm gonna get him killed so I could go so I don't sin against the law, and then I'm gonna take her. But the Lord didn't allow that, because he seen the play that King David was trying to make, and it was just complete wicked. So he still held it against him, even though he tried to find a loophole. He tried to find a loophole in the law, statutes, and commandments. And you see a lot of dudes do that today. In a lot of camps, a lot of brothers that's Israelites, they try to find loopholes when it comes to the law, statutes, and commandments, right? Now, he already had wives. But King David knew it was okay for him to take more wives. But he just did this one in a wicked way, right? Now it says in Romans chapter 7, just to prove, it says, know ye not, brethren, for I speak to them that know the law, how that the law has dominion over a man as long as he liveth. This is New Testament, so that means we still have to keep the law, statutes, commandments, you alive, right? It says, for the woman which has a husband is bound by the law to her husband so long as he liveth. But if the husband be dead, she is loose from that law of her husband. Meaning what? She could remarry. So then if while her husband liveth, she married to another man, she should be called an adulteress. But if her husband be dead, she is free from the law, so that she is no adulteress, though she be married to another man. So she could remarry once her husband died, because she's free from that bond. But if her husband is still alive, and that's what King David tried to do, and that's why he got the dude killed, because he was trying to, he wanted to take his wife, but he tried to find a loophole to do it, because he knew that law, right? But another part of the law is we can have multiple wives. You know, I'll read it for you, since I'm kind of cooking right now. I'll read it for you. Deuteronomy 21. Where's that? Verse 15. If a man have two wives, so if we can't have multiple wives, right? Polygynous. Why is this like, this is in the law? Why is it saying if a man have two wives? That shouldn't even exist, right? Because you should say, well, man can't have two wives. So why is this giving us a law on how to deal with a man that has two wives? One be loved and another hated, and they both be born in him children, both the beloved and the hated. And if the first born son be hers that was hated, so if the case we can't have multiple wives, and then you saying that that's a sin, and you're saying that that's adultery, then it shouldn't even say if a man had two wives. It should say that the man should be put to death because he committed adultery. But it don't say that. It says if a man has two wives, one be loved, because a man can have two wives. It's just that simple. I pulled this one, so I go ahead and get it for you. This is Exodus 21:10. It says, if he take him another wife, wait, that shouldn't even be possible. But it is, because it's in our law. So if he takes him another wife, her food, her remnant, and her duty of marriage should not be diminished. In the New Testament, where it says, let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband, of course, that makes sense. But you got to understand, you're reading Old English, so you have to know what it means. Yeah, every woman has to have her own husband. Meaning that if you a woman and you have a husband, of course you have to have your own husband, because you can't go take another woman's husband. That would be adultery. That would mean that woman has been with two men. That would be adultery. So if you're a woman, you have a husband, you can't go take another woman's husband, because that would be adultery, because you already have a husband. You see? And then let every man have his own wife, because you can't go take another man's wife, because that would be adultery, because she already has a husband. But if there's another single woman, you could go be with her. You see what I'm saying? Like if you have a wife and there's a single woman, you could get her and take her to be a wife. If your wife is with you, right, and there's a single man, she can't take that single man, because that's adultery. And she can't go take another woman's man and be with him, because that's adultery. She can't be with no other man. You as a man, you can't go be with another man's wife. That's why it says let every man have its own wife. You can't go be with another man's wife. But you could go get another wife if she's single. That's breaking it down, and all it takes is some understanding, knowledge, and wisdom and studying. So with that, I'm going to say hopefully it's been edifying for your studying. And I'm going to say salvation to the elect. Shalom.